This is 5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber.
We begin with breaking news at 4. 2 hours ago, the U.S. Coast Guard confirmed a missing submersible imploded near the wreckage of the Titanic, killing all 5 people on board. Thanks for being here. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. OceanGate submersible Titan lost contact nearly 2 hours after it dove into the North Atlantic on Sunday. NBC's Jay Gray fills us in.
Scanning the ocean floor, a remotely operated vehicle captures images of debris less than a half-mile from the bow of the Titanic.
We found 5 different major pieces of debris that told us that it was the remains of the Titan.
Analysts identifying the tail cone and sections of the pressure chamber, essentially the sitting area for those on board.
The debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. And so we'll continue to work and continue to search the area down there.
Trying to understand how, why, and when it happened. OceanGate, the company that operates the sub, acknowledging the tragic discovery in a written statement, calling the 5 men that were a part of the expedition British businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, French diver Paul-Henri Nargeolet, billionaire adventurer Hamish Harding, and the pilot, OceanGate founder and CEO Stockton Rush, quote, true explorers who shared a distinct spirit of adventure and deep passion for exploring. Going on to say, we grieve the loss of life and joy they brought to everyone they knew. The Coast Guard reaching out to their families.
I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time.
It's early in what's now a recovery mission. The aircraft and ships that have been a part of the search expected to clear the area, while the underwater assets will continue to search for evidence along the ocean's floor. Jay Gray, NBC News, Boston.
5 on your side will stay on top of this breaking story. Look for updates on air, online, and on the 5 on your side app.
Right now at 4, St. Louis City leaders are working together to draw up a plan to keep kids safe from gun violence. This comes days after the mass shooting that left 1 teenager dead and 11 more injured downtown.
And right now, the mayor of St. Louis is working with local groups to figure out how to better engage the youth. 5 on your side's Holden Kerwicki live for us in downtown St. Louis. Holden, what are these groups looking at?
Well, Brent and Kay, today at the meeting, there were a number of community leaders, organizers, even influencers invited to try and brainstorm some ways that we can protect the youth right here in our city. Now, that event was actually closed to the press, but Mayor Jones actually gave us some insight into what was going into those discussions. Now, while acknowledging that there is no quick fix, Mayor Jones announced that beginning this weekend, the Wall and Marquette Community Centers will be extending hours and programming, an idea that she says came from a February trip to Newark, New Jersey, where she studied how they addressed that city's crime issues. I asked Mayor Jones directly if there was any data that showed youth centers led to a reduction in crime. This was her response.
We have enough youth centers around here, but I don't think we're using them properly, or we're using them as much as we can. So we have rec centers from the southern tip of the city all the way to the northern tip of the city. And we have rec centers out in our region as well. And so that's why I'm calling on our region's leadership not to match me or beat me in our efforts to protect our babies.
Again, Mayor Jones is saying that there is no quick fix to the crime issues here in St. Louis, and she is challenging a number of people to come up with some ideas on how we should best address it. Now, coming up at 6, hear what the Urban League is doing to try and bring down crime right here in our city. Brent?
All right, certainly a community effort. Thank you, Holden. St. Louis police still looking, by the way, for several people they believe are tied to Sunday's mass shooting. If you have any information, contact Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. You can remain anonymous. Well, the Tennessee teenager critically injured while visiting St. Louis for a volleyball tournament, now suing the city. Janae Emerson lost her legs in that February crash, and on Wednesday, her lawyers filed suit against St. Louis.
That suit claims the city was negligent and failed to maintain safe conditions where the crash happened. Other defendants included in that lawsuit are Daniel Riley, his mother Kimberly, Elizabeth Smith, and Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Daniel Riley, the driver who struck Edmondson, was out on bond despite several violations. Smith is the other driver involved in the crash. According to court documents, Kimberly Riley and Enterprise are accused of letting Daniel Riley access the car. The lawsuit seeks a minimum of $175,000. There's also an update on Janae's journey to recovery. Her mother says Janae is getting closer to receiving prosthetic legs. She also threw out the first pitch at a baseball game in Nashville. Janae plans to attend Middle Tennessee State this fall, where she'll serve as a manager for the volleyball team. All right, let's talk weather. Take a live look outside a steamy downtown St. Louis. Temperature is only going to get hotter as we head toward the weekend. Meteorologist Jim Castillo is here now with a look at the Weather First forecast. Jim?
Yeah, hi, Kay. You saw that puffy cumulus cloud behind the arch there, and a couple of those are now popping up. So we're watching the Weather First Doppler radar. Let's go ahead and zoom into North County. And again, these are rare, but some of you have been reporting either sprinkles or a real quick downpour, even around Godfrey, Illinois, Alton, and into North County there, mainly west of Spanish Lake and around Florissant. Another batch, look at this, couple cells popping up here. No lightning reported, but maybe some of those bigger drops right around Bowling Green and Pike County. But more likely than not, many areas staying dry. It's 85 right now. Humidity staying in check at about 44%. But that dew point is climbing just a little bit. So highs near 90 through Friday, mainly dry Friday, hot, more humid this weekend. Now the storm chances do ramp up. I'll have a little bit more on that, the timing and how strong they could be coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Jim, we'll stay tuned for that. We have an update now on a proposed housing development in St. Charles County. The Planning and Zoning Commission is voting against the plan. The proposed development would bring more than 550 homes to land that borders the Bush Wildlife Conservation Area. At a public meeting last night, neighbors sounded off against that proposal, saying it doesn't fit into the rural community they've grown to love. The full county council expected to vote on the plan when it meets on July 31st.
St. Louis Public Schools need school bus drivers. They'll even let you take one for a spin at an upcoming job fair.
And a sweet goodbye from a St. Louis favorite. Why a store known for its cupcakes is closing up shop.
29 years ago this summer, hell froze over at the Riverport Amphitheater. Well, at least that was the name of this band's tour. Can you guess who it was?